Good morning. I'll give you the fancy opening and then we'll just drop down right into it since I'm super late. Hey guys, so we'll bond. It's not working. All right, I'll bond in a moment. Let's get to the numbers and let's get to what happened. Sorry for being late. I try to be here before these numbers come out, obviously. Obviously, it came in really bad, and I'm not overly surprised. You started to see the selling yesterday at the end of the day. So I think it's we'll go through it because I think it's going to be really important for you guys to get this. The PPI came in super hot. And what this does is it throws off corporate profits. So when the PPI comes in, it's super hot like that. It really throws off profits. And this is going to throw everything off. And this also means that, like, if you were thinking that Nail was a good trade yesterday, yeah, like today, it's going to get smoked. Because the chances of them cutting rates with this kind of stuff is going to just drop drastically. And I'll show you what I mean by this. Give me 1 second. So the chances of them cutting rates with a PPI like that just probably dropped considerably, and I can take a look at that for us. But this is a really bad number. And what I'll do, just to go through it, and you're going to see stocks drop on this. There's very little doubt in my mind that you're going to see that. I would say this, just throwing this out there for you crazy cats that play this kind of stuff. Wolf got a huge contract, and I have a position in it, and it's a really big contract. So you just might want to, you might just want to watch this today. That's a real contract that they got. It's not like a fake paint the tape kind of thing. If you look at how this is playing out, and I'll try to bond in a second here, but I guess you guys are kind of over the bonding. Like, God's sake, man, get it together. But something like this is really, really bad. Like really bad. You know, you were looking for 0.2, you came in at 0.9. 0.9, 0.2. Claims are good. Continuing claims are okay. But like the core PPI, like this is bad. And it's across the board. Like it's all across the board year over year. So do they get revisions? Do they not get revisions? You usually don't revise these CPI numbers. Like there's usually not revisions to this stuff because it comes in the way that it comes in, it trickles in. And the reason you care about this, like if you're like, whatever, Boomer, like, why do I care about this? I'm glad you asked. If you think about a burrito, right? And you should, because everybody loves a burrito. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. I got it. All right, cool. Yeah. So I really do think this. Give me 1 second. I think I got an issue here. I don't have an issue now, do I? Boom. Got rid of that issue. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, All right. So if I go and take a look here at how some of this is playing out, from my perspective, in looking at this, it's let's do it this way because it'll make more sense. If I draw something, it'll make more sense to you guys. I think it will. And let's just do it so that we get it. We'll get the whole lesson. All right. This is the burrito. And you're getting this. So it's coming. So here it is. So here's your burrito, right? And you go to the store and you go, I want a burrito. All right, that's CPI. And we're just going to say you buying one. And this is them making the burrito. All right, cool. I mean, everyone likes a burrito, even vegans, right? Even them, they get their vegan burritos, whatever. Anyway, the difference in between them making the burrito and you buying the burrito is PPI to CPI. It's corporate profits. So if corporate profits are down because of the differentiation between CPI and PPI, it's a problem for the market. That's why PPI is so important. All right. So when you think about it that way, right? Like this is CPI here, and this is PPI here. So when you think about it that way, right, it starts making a lot more sense, hopefully. And so in between, the difference here is corporate profits. And this is why you care, right? The difference between those two, that's corporate profits, right? And if one's higher than the other, that's the problem with it. So that's why you care about it. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, cool. So if we start going through some of these names, they're probably all going to drop pretty hard. And what I would say is you kind of saw this yesterday, them expecting a hot number. Remember, guys, there's something called a super user. People forget this stuff. Like people just forget things because of time and they have like real stuff to go on. But there's something called super users. And let me see if I can hold on one second. Let's see if we can get this going. And hold on, I think I got it. Yay, yay. So a super user it's a really nice way of them just getting the data before you. And so I have a crap mic too. Well, this is an absolute disaster this morning. There it is. Hold on. Better? Hello? Much better, right? Okay. So a super user is someone that has access to the data before you. And so banks are super users. So banks actually get access to CPI and PPI before the public because they pay for that. And you can look this up, you can Google it, but that's what they're called, super users. It's a real nice way of saying we give a lot of money to the government to get the number before you so we can front run you. And that's really what you start seeing yesterday with these names. Like there's a reason why, like if you look at like 3 o'clock yesterday, right around 3 o'clock, they just started dumping. And realistically, they were dumping the big dogs like all day. And now we know why. We know why they were doing that. So it's definitely out there. It's certainly something to pay attention to. From my perspective, just, I would just chill with it. Let this settle down and go from there. If we look at the key levels, and seeing how this is going to play out, can you bounce on it? You could. I mean, the thing that you would have to do with this, if we mark these levels off, is you'd have to go back and think that maybe you rally on it, like maybe you do, right? But I think that looking at this, that's pretty much where you're heading. And I went through this in last night's video. Like, I think that you're due for like a retail. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's only like 1% or something. But I do think you're setting up for something like that. And I think that's exactly what you're getting this morning. Let me flip to the symbol, electronic background trading hours. How about there are no trading hours? How about it just trades? And I think that's where you're heading. I think you're heading to this level. And I think that's going to be the issue with it. What I would do is go, have your buy list ready for what you want to buy and hold on to. But from my perspective, on days like today, I find it best to just let it flush. There's usually another level to it and kind of go from there. Can you just play the bounce off the open? You can do anything you want, but I would watch this like a hawk. If we go and take a look at the NQ, you're going to see something pretty similar to this. And frankly, from my perspective, let's clean all this off for a sec. From my perspective, I actually think that the NQ is probably a better move because everybody that bought the housing names yesterday just got hosed. So, it's definitely an issue. You can see your level right there holding. You probably buy futures right there, really, because you're probably going to bounce. You held it, so you probably should bounce. You should at least bounce up to here. But we'll see what it does. I don't know if I feel like doing that right now. I got too much else to do. If you look at your level here, but you should, we'll mark that off there, and I'll mark this one off there too. You might come back up and retest that and then roll back over. But I would tell you that to me, the move is, what do they buy? They might buy TAC today on the bounce and sell the home builders, because what happened is just like, that's a disaster for the home builders, right? So like anyone that bought nail yesterday just got smoked. Like they just got annihilated. It's one of the reasons why I didn't buy the home builders yesterday, because I wanted to see what PPI was. And like, I guarantee you those numbers change drastically. Let's go take a look at the Fed tool real quick. And what I'm going over is more important than questions right now, because it's going to be your whole day. And I'd watch very, very closely how this stuff plays out. And yeah, they're dropping, but they didn't drop it by a lot, in my opinion, nowhere near enough. They're saying 92%, which is just kind of insane to me that they still think there's a 92% right now. But here you can see I'll flip to this real quick because it'll be easier, and then you guys can go and find it for yourselves. Sorry, that's a lot of me in the morning. Yay. Hold on. Here. All right. Are we still bonding? Hold on. All right, cool. So this is FedWatch CME group right here. And what you can see by this is your ease is 92.7. The chances of a change are 7.3%. When you started the day, there was 0 chance of them leaving rates where they are. And then there's a 7.3% chance of them leaving rates where they are. So this number is going to scare the bejesus out of people. There's really no other way to say it. I personally think that it might lead people to buy tech today. Wolf's breaking out, guys, by the way. While we're talking, just FYI. There's your little flag. Okay. So here we go. But what you really want to do here, in my opinion, is you want to watch this stuff. You want to watch how you act off the open and make sure that you're actually going to go. But here, let me just show you this. Let's go back to this now. It's going to be an easier way to do that than the way I'm doing it. That's not the one I want. This is the one I want. Got to be a much easier way to do that than the way that I did it. Boom. All right. Where could you get to? You can get up here pretty easy. Where does that put you? 812? Yeah, pretty easily. Okay. So, sorry, guys. let's go take a look at some of these names real quick that you guys are going to hopefully ask about. But like GRR, for example, they had a really good report. I'm surprised it's not running, like really running. As a matter of fact, it's falling apart, which is kind of interesting because they crushed. I do think some of these names are really setting up, though. Some of these smaller names are really setting up. So let's just see here. ZIM is definitely something I still have a position in. What do I really want to go over? Here's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. So they should smoke this today. They should absolutely smoke this thing today. So we'll see, but they really should kill this. And I think that's going to present an opportunity for some of these other names to kind of come in. You know, they've been buying the living bejesus out of AMD, not so much NVIDIA, but they've been buying the bejesus out of AMD on those dips, man. So there might be something there. As far as, you know, if you were interested in the home builders, do you buy that dip? You can try, you know, maybe that works, say the NQ level. So you just want to make sure that you're getting through that particular area. And one of the things you can do is just mark that off with fibs. Okay. And then just see how it goes. There's 38.2 takes you right to that level. So that's a big one. If you flip 38.2, you can try to get to the 50%, which isn't a fib, but it's definitely worth paying attention to. So I'm going to go through these fast and see if we can get to questions. But I personally think that like you want to play, like see the wolf. So that's gone. You'll go to 8s. You'll get an 8 handle here pretty quickly, I think, once you broke that out. So I think you'll hit 812. Just disclose you have a position in it. I had a starter in GRR. I got out. I don't know. I thought it was good. And this is what I'm talking about yesterday. Like when I say things like yesterday, I want to go through this because I did it Saturday's or Tuesday's, Wednesday's video. So I bought this yesterday, and shocker, I know everything I do doesn't work. But when I bought this and it reversed there, like I paid for that information. When it broke the previous close, like that was it. I got out because it never should have done that. So when you have a stock and you're buying a stock and it does something that it shouldn't do, that's really what you should be paying attention to. So when you're here and you close there, test, rallies, fails the open, and then does this, like that's it. You know, there's really not much more to say or do. You can sit there and hope and pray all you want, but nobody cares. So, you know, just think about that. If you hold this level, maybe there's something to it, but you know, it's not something I would go near. I'd really want to see some semblance that you're going to rally here and not just roll right back over. And again, these numbers were really, really bad, like really bad. So, you know, do with that what you will. Let's go there and start going through these names. PPI was a dumpster fire. SPY, HI. Let's do HI. John, I'm not going to have time to get through them all, obviously. What are you doing to me here, John? Okay. I say, what kind of nightmare are you giving me this morning? I don't know the news. I'd love to know that news. I mean, obviously earnings killed it, dude, but I don't know enough about it to talk intelligently about it. I mean, I'm sure you already saw that. So just make sure you get over. There goes that wolf. I think you're going to see 812. Mm-hmm. Did this thing even try to come back yet? And they got hoodwinked yesterday, huh? I don't know enough about that HI, dude. I really don't. BLD, HCC. Come away from Tokyo. I should road trip. I don't go anywhere. I really don't. I go to the gym and then I come back and I work. But I like it. All right. Super interesting, right? The heck's going on with coal, man? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's definitely something. You know, I run that sector fund on Market Smith. I run that industry scan all the time, right? And I ran it the other day, and this popped up, and I'm like, it's got to be a fluke. You know, I just like blew it off because I'm like, who the hell is buying coal? Excuse my language. But apparently everybody, it's the cat's pajamas. We should be looking at coal names. I mean, it's pretty clear. So I'll start going through them. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to not like that. I think you have to get through your neckline here. I'm sure you already saw that, you know, but that's what I think you got to get through, Jacob. BLD. Good Lord. I don't know what they do. I see the word top build. So I'm assuming they're not a car builder. So only nerds like me would think that. So I'm assuming they do something with housing and they just crushed it. Their gross margins are up. Maybe that's what did it, right? They had higher gross margins. It's interesting for sure. Jacob, especially all that buying, all that volume. How's the NQ doing? Did it start? You know, just watch the 38.20 level. I mean, if you flip it, cool. The trade today might just be, you know, if you think about it from a pair trade perspective, the trade might just be, you know, buy TQQ, sell RTY, because, you know, there's no way that RTY is going to outperform the NASDAQ today. It just set everybody up yesterday. Bessent just set everybody up yesterday. So I do think that this is going to be an interesting day to look at this stuff. Like, is today the day that you start getting involved in this? You know, because they just crushed everybody in this stuff. What happened to like Ethereum? Yeah, they're just going to crack all this crap today, right? It's actually good. Okay. That's definitely not done. That BLD's on fire, dude. Yeah. I mean, I think for earnings, it looks like it's just going to rip everyone's head off. I do think you're going to have a problem this morning. And, you know, he can blame anybody he wants, but that means the cost of goods, you know, just think about my burrito analogy. The cost of goods today, it's a problem. It's a real problem. And, you know, you're going to have trapped a lot of people from yesterday, a lot. You know, it's one of the reasons yesterday, if you're in the community, why I was going through it, like at the end of the day, and said, you probably just want to, you know, raise some capital. Just the way market was acting on that PPI, you know, like ahead of it didn't make sense. But, you know, they're super users. So they you know, I laugh, but they actually do get the data before you. ASTS, space phones. Yeah. So as far as, let's go through all these. So as far as coin, to me, it's a dumpster fire. I mean, I'm still short. I shorted yesterday. I had a great trade in it. I had another short on previously. There's nothing to do with it. Like, they just gave you a great opportunity to short yesterday. What you really need here, and you still aren't getting it, I think that this is super important, because I run like about 500 charts every night that are just, you know, just these kinds of charts, just straight up dailies, right? And I'll just sit there and like watch them go by. But like, you see this? You need to watch this. Like, you can't get over and stay over that 55. You just haven't been able to. Like, even yesterday, maybe you did it, but to me, it doesn't look like you did. So I wouldn't be rushing into that, man. I think on the rallies, you just short the bejesus out of it. I think that this space, one of the guys in the room has been in this thing since $4. And I bought it before the earnings this day because the way it was acting and consolidating, we did really well with that trade. I stayed out of it, and then I got back involved on some of these like momentum moves that are in here. I think the tell for me with it is the way that you're acting near the 55-day, and that's the institutional level. You have net buyers down there, and you don't really have a reason why you have to be in it right now, but you have net buyers down there. And I do think that that's going to, continue. So it's definitely there. I would also tell you, like today, that, you might start seeing some stuff change its tune, like crude, or you might start seeing that. You might start seeing some of those kinds of names, the commodity names start moving. Let's go take a look at copper and what copper did on that. Nothing. All right. Man, he destroyed copper with a single tweet, huh? Okay, so you have signs of inflation and gold's going down. Makes perfect sense. All right. Let's just keep looking here. So the LEU pricing, the fact that it's out of the way, we should go through all this because a lot of it's good. I like that they priced it and knocked it down. I really like that. I'd like to see how it acts now and kind of go from there. I don't really feel the need that I have to rush into anything here. Take a look at the Wolf and see what you're doing. It's a big contract. So I think you got a shot at it. We'll have to watch how it acts when it gets to that 765 level. But the coin short I get, Oust, I don't follow this one. What's up, Jay? Clearly, no. Sound, I think, had it. I'd be real careful of this thinner stuff today. If it gets smoked, maybe. I'll tell you what makes sense to me is not this, but they're going to, like, I wouldn't do this because I love myself, but like this MSOS, it makes sense. Like, he's going to do this. It's very clear that he looked at this when he came in and went, all right, well, we're going to do Doge, and Doge is going to save us trillions. And then instead of that, that's not really what happened, right? So we found some things that we cut costs on, and then nobody wants to touch entitlements. So that was it. So we got rid of one thing, and good or bad, whatever, doesn't matter. But we got rid of one thing. There's only one way. Like if you have a lot of debt, there's only one way to get rid of the debt. You either lower the interest rate, right, somehow, which is what he's trying to do. If you think about our debt, like the country's debt is like a credit card, right? Like you can't go use the credit card and then complain about the rate of the credit card. Like it doesn't work that way. Or the other thing that you can do is make more money. Well, the easiest way for them to make more money is you bring Freddie and Fannie public, right? You'll make a killing. You'll pay stuff off that way. You legalize pot and you bring it into the system, into the banking system, because it makes no sense whatsoever that this is not, if you're going to have it in states, you should have it everywhere. Or lower or drop it so that people can actually put money into the banking system, and then you tax it and they make a killing off the tax. That's really what they should be doing with it. They should legalize it and then take a percentage of whatever that is into, rehabs for people. I mean, there's a whole system that could happen here with this. And I do think that in this administration, you do see this legal. I really do think that's coming. So, we'll see. But I do think that is definitely on the agenda. And I would play it through the grouping like this or through this. I wouldn't pick an individual name. I would pick it through a thing. Like I would pick it through one thing. I wouldn't pick it through just, how can I say this? I wouldn't want to bet on the winning name. I don't think that's the way to do this. I think the way to do this is to look at this and say, what's going to drive this? Him lowering the classification. And I think that's the first step. I think that you see it legal in the next 3 to 4 years. I really do. So that's just, it's an opinion. Do what you want with it. Yeah, I do think the video is going a lot higher, but critical minerals. Well, the critical minerals makes a lot of sense too. I mean, it just does. Some of those little guys out there that are kind of like falling by the wayside. There was another little guy out there. Somebody just showed me. I forget what it was. But NVIDIA, I think, is going a lot higher. I know that. We all know that. Back in the day. Good morning. Mohawk. Yeah, I guess because of yesterday, right? Because of what they do and the home building. Same thing with Home Depot, which will come in today, right? And then you also have Home Depot, Lowe's, all that stuff. And I do think that these themes are not, they're not going away. So you probably want to just kind of watch that, just be super careful here. I don't think they're going to go away. Mohawk, I don't think it's going to go away, but I think that the reality of, that's why it moved. It's like LPX yesterday, which is the one I'm in. I think the reality of just the de facto rate cut just went out the window. And I don't know how they're going to say, 3% PPI. Yeah, you should definitely cut rates. So, Wolf. I wouldn't go near that personally. Yeah, now, I think you're going to have to think about what to do with that today. I like, my nemesis is I tend to get in too early. So I'll see this stuff down. I know that I wanted to get in it yesterday. So I'll rush into this stuff and then I'm with it for a couple of days. You might want to make sure that this stuff actually holds before, getting involved with it. And, looking at it, I'm just looking at some of these positions I have. Looking at this, to me, it's pretty telling right here. That, no one's really rushing into this stuff, guys. So, I don't need to be first. I just need to be right. I'd be careful here. This actually drop might be an interesting time to go out there and get involved in AMAT today. AMAT has earnings tonight. Last earnings were the cat's pajamas. And all those names crushed it. They all crushed it. KLAC, LRCX. Even though they dropped on them, which was stupid, they just crushed. So we'll see. See there. Yeah, the makes sense. Trade. PPI came in hot. Lily, I think you have to have a long-term outlook for it. Did it stop going down? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really have an emphatic bar in there yet that's telling me that. That piece guy's going a lot higher. I don't think people get that trade at all yet. So I really don't. I love burritos too. No, we're bonding now. We got the bonding going. I'm just going through this super quick. I don't know if Itchy's vindicated. I think he should have cut rates already. PPI affects everything. I think they're going to have a good quarter. What the stock does today on that, I don't really know. I don't know, man. I think you're going to have a really good quarter there. And are they affected by it? Yeah. If things are more expensive, yeah, they are affected by it. Yeah, they are. Well, the easiest thing to do is just short TNA, right? But the question becomes, do they blow it off? I'm not seeing any signs they're blowing it off at all yet. And I'm looking for some kind of sign that they're blowing it off, and they're not blowing it off yet. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The tariffs just went into effect too. So is this what we're going to start getting? I don't have it for PPI. They usually don't do it for PPI. I think the market itself was 87 basis points is what they were saying. I'm just trying to go through this. Let's go through there. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just going through these, see if there's anything here I got to go over without you guys going through all the comments real quick. Inflation helps commodities. What do you want to do here, buddy? Well, you want me to tell you everything's going to be okay? What do you want to talk about? I mean, does it go? It's not my kind of trade, man. Like, it doesn't mean that it can't work. It's just not my kind of trade. It's the same thing with TDD. Like, there are people that go out there, they'll buy this stuff and they'll make 20% on it. It's not for me. I don't know what LYSDY is, my friend. Let's take a look. I mean, another one. Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. I don't think it was. It was another one. I don't know anything about it, man. I mean, obviously it's on fire. There's not really much value I can add there. What I would do is I'd be watching and seeing what they do with the RTY names. And to me, they're just going to stay away from it all. I mean, that's the vibe that I'm getting. But for now, you're just sitting here and stagnating, and you're only down 50 basis points, which is super interesting because I would think that you would get smoked. Now, some of this stuff's still rocking. So there it comes. Here comes the buying. $1 million in a bar. So just watch, see if we can get through it. If we can, I think we still have a shot at the 812 level. So, all right, guys. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, Peace Guy was a beast, right? I couldn't get over yesterday. I was so annoyed. Like 3 times this week I had things, and then it gave me like a day or two delay, like the China move. But I saw this. I'm like, why is this not up more? Like, it makes no sense why this didn't move. And, it just took a while, I guess, for people to even realize it. But then you could be looking at like another Netflix here. Like a lot of people are going to buy this service. A lot. I mean, you want to go watch South Park? You want to go watch UFC? It's only one place now. And the no pay-per-view thing is just freaking huge. I got to jump, guys. I'm super late. See ya. Make good choices.